Hello, my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and tonight I'm speaking with lead singer Jorden Zoolander, who's the lead singer of Los Angeles-based Cheap Trick tribute band, Cheapest Trick. How are you doing tonight, Jorden?
Oh, I'm doing great, Jason. Thank you very much.
Okay, now I guess the best place to start the interview off with is why don't you share with us how you first got into the music of Cheap Trick?
Oh, that's a complicated one. I was actually working with some of these guys initially. We were doing cover work, and we had covered one or two of their songs. I think some of their bigger hits like "Surrender" and "I Want You to Want Me," and it started coming together and sounding good. So I came up with this concept and idea that maybe we should try a tribute. Initially, I was unsure about it because I've never done a tribute project before until now. But I guess once the idea came up, everybody was on board, and we went full steam ahead after that.
Now let me ask you, Jorden. Like you said that you kind of got turned on by other guys to Cheap Trick. Had you heard any of the songs before, like "Surrender" or "Dream Police," or were these the ones that actually turned you on to Cheap Trick?
I didn't really grow up with them when they initially became successful. I think their first three CDs were a big hit in Japan, and when Budokan came out, I was more familiar with it after 1978 when Budokan came out. So they were playing more of their songs here in America, and I think they did that show in Budokan, Japan, in '78, and that's when it came out. So at that point, I started listening to some of the hits, but I wasn't really sure or familiar with the B-sides of their music at that point. Just mainly the radio songs that they were playing at the time.
And so let me ask you, once you decided to give this tribute thing a shot, and you formed your band Cheapest Trick, were you surprised once you guys started performing your shows, the reaction you were getting?
Yeah, I was apprehensive at first, but we actually started the project, and within 30 days we had our first live scheduled performance in the books. So we had very little time to prepare for this thing, and I think at that night we did 2 sets of their music, and I really wasn't confident like I needed to be at that point, but we had already got some bookings early on, so we went ahead and went for it, and surprisingly enough, that show was pretty successful, and we got a really good reaction from all of the people there, and even some of the friends that we brought that were surprised to see us perform at that level. So from then on, it's just been full steam ahead, actually.
And so let me ask you, Jorden, before Cheapest Trick, had you got out to see any other tribute acts?
I'm trying to recall. Jason, I don't think I did at the time. No, I was mainly doing, writing songs, doing some original stuff, and I was performing in cover bands primarily here. Prior to this project, I was in another band for 2 years, and we were working steady just about every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday for the last 2 years. So I was kind of, occupied with that at the time.
Yeah, I mean, because I got to tell you, part of the reason I started interviewing guys like yourselves that play the tribute bands is because, I guess you may know yourself, there's a wide range of people that got a real misconception that, guys that play tribute bands, they're failed musicians, they could never do it, with their own original thing, which is not necessarily the truth. A lot of times it's just that it's easier, it's easier to be more successful doing this as opposed to if you have an original band going. It might take you 6 or 7 years to have your first hit song, and that's, like I said, a lot of people they have that misconception, but it's kind of amazing to hear that 30 days after you formed a band that you had your first gig. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think I would have to concur with you about the tribute acts. I know that sometimes there's a misconception about doing this work, and I think once you're more familiar with it, and fortunately we've got to work with a lot of very talented musicians, and I've worked with most of the premier tribute bands in Los Angeles now, and I realize it's not near as easy, or it's much more complicated than I anticipated going into this project, because it's not just memorizing the songs and learning all the music and memorizing all the lyrics, but you have to put effort into your appearance, your performance, your movements. Your equipment has to be, identical to theirs or match as closely as possible. Costumes are a big, big for us. So it was a little more than I even anticipated, and it's certainly one of the hardest projects I've ever done so far to date.
'Cause I got to tell you, Jordan, I've seen your band one time about a year ago at this little tiny intimate club called the Gas Lamp in Long Beach, where I'm from. And you guys put on a dynamite show. And I got to tell people that the thing about it at the time was there weren't too many Cheap Trick tributes out. There started to be a little more now as we speak. But I got to say, one thing that really impressed me was I was looking at the band, not just performing on stage, but I mean, like you're saying, you guys look the part. I mean, you look so much like Robin Zander, you know, even today. It blew my mind. I mean, how hard is that for you to, I mean, do you look like that? You look like that every day? Is that your costume, like you're saying? You know, you have a Robin Zander wig, so to speak? Or, I mean, because you really look the part. And I got to say, that's one of the things that really impressed me about seeing you guys.
Yeah, and I think you saw us in our infancy, and I think, since that date, we've put a lot more effort and energy into the costumes, and I think there's been some improvement on that end. But, I mean, some of the bands, I know a couple tributes that we've worked with. This is what they do for a living, and it's how they make their living,
yeah.
So they're always in character. And we're certainly not in character all the time because we have other projects and jobs. But we try to put a lot of energy into our appearance and our demeanor on stage because we think that matters just almost as much as the music matters. Certainly the music's the priority, but I think, we have to convince the audience that they're getting the experience. Maybe they didn't have the opportunity to see the real band, but they're getting that experience as close as they can in their local town. So hopefully we're bringing that to the table, and we've been fortunate to be able to go from San Diego to Big Bear to the Valley and all over Los Angeles to play since you saw us last. So, Jason, we're trying to do our part and make it as authentic as possible. So we hope it's convincing. That's the idea,
Yeah, well, I guess that you're off to a very good start because to think that I've seen you guys, in your early days and your infancy, and you say you're so much better. I can only, I can only imagine. But see, I like to attribute this to like rock and roll theater. That's what I call it because, like you said, it's more than four or five guys getting on stage in their jeans and t-shirt and just strumming a guitar. You guys, you're playing the music of Cheap Trick. You're playing the role of the guys in Cheap Trick, and again, you could be the worst tribute band, and you could be a bunch of guys that look nothing like the real Cheap Trick. But see, it's like the next best thing, like you said. Anybody that maybe has never seen the real Cheap Trick, it's the next best thing because you look so much like Robin Zander. You sound like him. It's mind blowing.
Oh, well, we appreciate that. We certainly, that's certainly what we're after, and we want to continue doing this as much as possible. And we certainly all enjoy it, and it's as much about the music as it is about the performance for us. So we like that end of it, and you don't really have that when you're in cover bands as much as you do in tribute bands. So you get to play the part, and you get to step out of character and be incognito, and there's something exciting about that. It takes it to another level for us musically.
Yeah, and let me ask you, like when you guys are doing shows, and of course people know you guys are a tribute band, but when you're out hanging out like in front of a club or something, when the other band's on, you ever get people like thinking you're really Robin Zander? Or, hey, are you a guy from Cheap Trick?
It's funny that you mentioned that because there have been a few shows, in between all. People have come up and approached us, and when they're taking pictures, I don't know if it's because of the alcohol that they've consumed,
yeah.
But some people are actually convinced that they might be talking to the real Cheap Trick and that, Robin Zander or Rick Nielsen's in town. And, we've actually been able to fool a few people, actually. And I don't know if, again, it's because they were drinking but, it's comforting to know that for a moment there, they're actually convinced they're talking to the real thing,
Yeah,
we've actually even converted fans. I've had people come up to me and even say, I never really listened to them before, but now that I've seen this, I'm going to from now on. And they're buying their CDs, and we're trying to encourage people to go out and support this band. They're very smart, intelligent songwriters, and this music certainly isn't easy to perform. And we're excited about that when we see people convert and actually get an opportunity to see them because maybe they never have, and now they're going to listen to them. And maybe they never heard Cheap Trick when they released their first CD in '77 or Dream Police, but now maybe they will. So we're excited about that too.
I mean, how cool is that? And Cheap Trick has always been one of those bands that everybody's heard "Surrender of a Flame" or the songs that played on the radio, "Dream Police." But then there are songs like "Gonna Raise Hell." People might hear it. Oh yeah, I heard that song. Oh, that's the band that does it. Oh, that's Cheap Trick. They're the band that does that song. So that's the great thing about what you guys are doing too. You're keeping the legacy alive. You're reminding people that they have so many great songs.
Yeah, and that's the idea, and we throw them a curve in some of the shows, and we do a Fats Domino track that Cheap Trick covered. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Ain't That a Shame?
Oh, yeah.
We actually do an Elvis track, Don't Be Cruel, that we throw in, that they did a remake on. That's a really good rendition of it. And we even do a Beatles track, so that Cheap Trick covered. So, they did cover some songs, and shockingly, they're covers of these original bands, like Fats Domino, Elvis, and the Beatles. They're amazing if you ever get a chance to hear them. And, we'd like to bring that to the table, too, to show them that Cheap Trick is not a one-trick pony and that they're really versatile and great songwriters and great performers, and they do great renditions of covers, so it covers it all. So it's a very exciting project to be involved in, to say the least.
Yeah, let me ask you, because Cheap Trick has always been they're a band that I've always been a fan of. I got all their albums and stuff, and interestingly enough, like even when they cover their own original material, they outdo themselves. I mean, the song they're probably most known for is "I Want You to Want Me" off of Budokan. But what most people don't know is that's a song that appeared on their debut album way back in 1977. And if you listen to the original studio version of that song, it sounds nothing like the live version. It sounds like an old country song, and then the live version they rocked it up or whatever they did, but it just took on a life of its own on the Budokan recording.
Oh yeah, there's no question. I mean, I think they were true to the Epic label for many, many, many years, and they even did a Sgt. Pepper live, and I don't know if you've seen the DVD or heard the CD release, but it's amazing what these guys are able to do. And so much of their work I wasn't familiar with before, and once I got into this project, I learned more and more about them, and it's just exciting to be up there. I can't express it enough that this music is just, it really moves you. Everybody seems to always be having a good time when we're performing. We've got a tremendous amount of followers from, since the inception of this, about a year. Probably, what was it? I think, Jason, it was a year and 3 months ago when you saw us?
Yeah, something like that. And
about 15 months ago, I think we started this project.
And so, how regularly do you guys, do shows now?
I'm sorry?
How much do you guys gig? I mean, do you doing a lot of shows like over the last year?
Oh yeah, we've done countless shows. We've been everywhere. Like I mentioned earlier, We've been everywhere from Big Bear to San Diego. We've even played venues like Walu's Tacos invited us to do a show there.
Wow.
We're headed back to the Coach House again. I think this is our fourth venue at the Coach House. We're opening for Led Zeppelin on January 31st.
Wow.
And Led Zeppelin has suggested that we come open for them again, and we opened for them before, and we've been fortunate. We got to play the San Diego Fairgrounds. We played the Caves in Big Bear. We've done Paladinos. We've been to San Diego and done beach venues and Tio Leo's 3 or 4 times. We're working with some major headlining acts that are very talented. Everybody from Kiss to Live, which is a Kiss tribute, to Dangerous Touch, which is a Cars tribute. Like I said, Led Zeppelin, which is a Led Zeppelin tribute.
Yeah.
So we've been able to work with so many tributes in this town, which is another arena that I never got into before. Being able to work with such talent and have all that talent surround you, it pushes you to another level. It's very inspiring to work with all these tribute bands.
See, that's great. That's a great thing about being a Cheap Trick tribute, because like you just said, it's not like if you were in a Metallica tribute where you got to kind of play with the Megadeth and the Motorhead tributes and Iron Maiden tributes. You guys can play with the Led Zeppelin tribute. You can play with the Doors tribute. The Cars.
We've worked with Wild Child several times. Yeah. What's good about Cheap Trick is, we've headlined too, but we were opening for other acts or headlining. This music seems to blend well with almost any type of band out there, any type of music. So we're really
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
like you mentioned, Jason, to be able to work with these bands, and this music just seems to match. I mean, I'm sure there's a few tributes that wouldn't be a good lineup for us, but primarily, almost every tribute that we've worked with has worked somehow.
And let me ask you, out here in LA where we're from, one of the big, pinnacles you could say for tribute bands is that Access TV show, The World's Greatest Tributes. Have you guys thought about trying to get on that show?
Yeah, I'm not. I think there's been some contact made, not from my end.
Yeah.
But I think that the way their procedure works for them is that they have to actually be at one of your performances, so they have to know when you're in town and when you're playing, because they want to see you perform first.
Yeah, yeah.
So, even though I know the Elton John tributes there, I've met the Rod Stewart tributes, the Pat Benatar, the Heart tribute bands, and most of the tribute bands that are on Access TV, I haven't met anybody that's affiliated with them yet, so we're still hoping that maybe that's a possibility in the future, and hopefully for 2015 that'll be something that's on our agenda to do, because we would love to do it.
Yeah, I think you guys would stand out. I think one reason they would really consider you is because one thing they try to do, like they don't get like all the metal tribute. Like you said, they've had a Heart tribute, a Rod Stewart tribute. They've had a Rolling Stone tribute and everything, and Black Sabbath and Ozzy. So that's one cool thing I enjoy tuning in every week to watch that show, because you get some type of different band, each week.
Exactly. It's something that's definitely on our radar, and we would love to get an opportunity to speak with the people that are affiliated with that, so that we can get an opportunity maybe to perform on that network, and that would be a real exciting next move for us.
A lot of the diehard Cheap Trick fans, they love the classic stuff from back in the 70s. But like you said, if you take the time to listen to the whole Cheap Trick catalog, they got great stuff. I mean, they even had an album back like in '94, Woke Up with the Monster. There's some great stuff on that.
One of my favorite tracks, absolutely.
And even when I seen you guys, I guess you said early on in your career, one of the greatest things I loved about your set list is you had Dream Police and Surrender, everything I wanted to see, and then you also threw in a song like My Baby Loves to Rock, and I thought, from one of the albums from the '80s, and I thought, man, how cool is that? They're giving the audience a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we know that, there are some diehard fans that want to hear B-sides and everything from, like you said, Baby Loves to Rock to Heaven Tonight. And then there's the people that come to hear the hits. So we tried to encompass everything. The nice thing about this project, too, that I didn't mention about the Cheap Trick project is that we've never had the same set list twice.
Yeah.
So every show is different, and every show is there's something for everybody, and if they saw us a month prior, when they come see us the next time, it could be a whole new set list, with the exception of a few of the big hits that they had that, we try to incorporate in every show. We never have to play the same set list twice, so it's exciting for us. It's like a new project every night we play, so that's really exciting. I listen to all their CDs, live albums, the Sex America and Cheap Trick, the box set.
Oh, yeah.
That I have that was released in '96, I think.
Yeah.
I listen to that one a lot. So I try to listen to everything and pick up this new material, listen to all their B-sides, do all we can to make it convincing,
Yeah, and the best compliment I can give you, Jorden, is I think, in today's world, you guys might be just as good as a actual real Cheap Trick. And the reason I say that is, like when I went to see you guys, you all, not just you, but all the guys in the band, the guitar player looked like Rick Nielsen, bass player looked like Tom Peterson. And the thing is, if you go see a real Cheap Trick today, you only get 3 of the members. I mean, Bunny Carlos is no longer with the band, or at least touring with them, and where they might get more of an actual Cheap Trick experience, come to see Cheapest Trick.
Yeah, I mean, when I came up with this concept, we didn't anticipate that, but everybody really started looking the character, which kind of surprised me too. They did put some energy and effort into making that happen, but it was amazing how much we kind of fit the part more than because that wasn't something I anticipated when I talked about the project. First, it was just about the music only,
Mm-hmm.
And then came the appearance, and I was surprised that we started fitting, their image as much as we could, considering.
And so, like, before each show, I was curious, how long does it take you to get into your Robin Zander mode, if you will. I mean, you have a costume and everything where you're really feeling the part.
Well, it does, I have to have that separation from when I get to a show once I'm set up, and then I go out and get in costume, and I have to try to get in character and get psyched up for the shows, because sometimes these shows can go really long, and, you've gotta try to stay in character as long as possible. So, it's easy to get out of character, but you just have to keep concentrating on it and make it happen. But I'd say it takes me a good, I think, I have more equipment. I have a lot of equipment on stage, and the nights that I bring guitars and keyboards, it takes me a little longer. And certainly the costume, I need a good 30 minutes to an hour to get everything ready, just so that I'm ready for the, performance.
As far as that goes, how do you decide, which songs you're going to have two guitar players on and which songs you're not? Is you just kind of, okay, well, this is what Robin Zander originally played on, or?
Well, it's kind of tricky because, if you watch any of their performances, he'll be playing guitar sometimes on a song, and other times they'll do the same song and he won't.
Yeah.
Sometimes there'll be an orchestra behind them, and other times there won't. Sometimes there'll be keyboards and strings, and other times there won't. So it's really kind of tricky. But, if it's a big song or it's a song that doesn't require two guitars, I'll just go up there and sing, because, when you can step out into the crowd, the audience seems to, it pulls them in more, and they seem to connect more. So I'll take an opportunity on, like, Don't Be Cruel or Baby Loves to Rock, to put the guitar down, and I'll go out and I'll sing in the audience, or if I'm on a wireless, I'll be able to move around more. So I try to take opportunities like that as often as I can.
I imagine being in a tribute band, one great thing about that is that it allows you to keep your musical chops up. The fact that you're gigging so much, and even though you're playing, songs that were written by other people, it allows you to, kind of practice your craft, if you will.
Yeah, Jason, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, but, we have to keep rehearsing, and we have to keep performing, or, this stuff will start to slip away, and it's a big assignment to have to memorize all this, and you have to keep active to keep it, in the forefront and on your mind. So that's true. And then we looked at all their equipment, and I can't speak for all of the members of the band, but Robin plays so many different things. Rick Nielsen has 25, 30 guitars on each tour.
Yeah.
It's hard to replicate all that, but we try to do as good as we can. I think Xander plays like Schecter guitars and Hamer guitars, and he uses Vox amps and Orange amps, and so I try to, I don't have exactly what he works with, but we try to get really close as far as the Fender guitars or the Schecter guitars or the Hamer guitars to make it match. I think we have Vox amps on stage, at least I know I do, and that really seems to help a lot. When the equipment looks real, that convinces the audience even more. So that's another part of the investment that we make.
And I think it's cool, like you said, as far as changing up the set list. So when if you have people that come see you multiple nights, they're not getting the same show every time. But as far as when you guys come up with a set list, how much of it is like you're Cheap Trick fans yourself, so how much of it is you guys throwing in a song like, hey, we've never done this before, that's my favorite song list, or is it more about trying to find the balance of songs that your audience wants to hear?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, actually. Sometimes, I'm not involved in making the set list, and sometimes I don't get them until the night of the show or the day of the show. But you think I would be, I know, as a singer, but I depend on them, and they have pretty good judgment about that. So I think it's a combination of what they like playing, because I know everybody in the band has their favorite songs for sure. We all have one, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then we have to consider the venue and what the audience wants to hear, because it's different. It's different from venue to venue. So we try to be conscious of what the audience might have come to want to see and hear, and then what certainly they'll throw in things that they enjoy playing.
I was curious. There's another Cheap Trick tribute out there. It's an all-star tribute. And the frontman is Jamie St. James, who was in the singer from Black and Blue. I was wondering if you've heard of them or had a chance to go check them out.
No, I haven't really seen any other ones. I have talked to some of them. I've been able to connect with them on Facebook, and some of them that are out of state. I really don't know any local bands that are doing this.
Yeah.
I think there is one, but I haven't had any direct contact with them. But I try to. I'm just happy they're all keeping the Cheap Trick image and the music alive, and we're all out there doing whatever it takes, because certainly they're worth it. And these guys are just, if you have an opportunity to see them, they're just incredible. I mean, I've seen Cheap Trick I think 2 or 3 times in the last year and a half. I've been able to see the Robin Zander band. So all these things really help, and I was fortunate enough to get to meet them, and they play here locally in Hermosa Beach. I've gone to see them at the fair, so I've been very fortunate about this whole project. Has just opened up a lot of doors for me and for everybody, I think.
And how surprised were you, like when you first put the band together and you seen the success that you could have doing a tribute band? I mean, it must be kind of amazing as far as a guy that's been a professional musician all his life, doing his own original thing, and then you put this tribute band together. It's been around a little over a year now, and you guys are getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I'm surprised about the success that we're having, and we're thrilled that we're able to keep this music out there and alive, and keep the rock music on the scene. And I think the audience that comes to see us, everybody has been real grateful and very respectful, and nobody's been condescending. They all love what we're doing, and they've been very supportive in so many ways. I mean, we have a lot of people to thank. I mean, the list is endless. It really takes a village to make this possible.
Yeah, and I can hear in talking to you, Jorden, the love of what you do, and even about a year ago, I talked to your drummer Dave. I did an interview with him, and like I was telling you when we were setting up your interview tonight, up until just a few days ago, his interview had like I think today it has like 74 views. It's been the most popular interview on our site, and I think part of the reason for that is people listen to his interview and they just hear the passion and the love for what he does, and it just amazes me. But and even talking to you, I can hear like the love of what you do, and your passion for this.
Oh yeah, I really started my audition in my career actually with David, because I went and auditioned for him for a cover band, and then eventually after some discussions we decided to put this project together. And we're all loyal to Cheap Trick. He's more focused on the Bunny Carlos technique and style of playing than he is Rick's son Dax playing. But that's fine with me, because even the combination of the two is great. I think Dax is a phenomenal drummer, and Bunny is definitely phenomenal. So I'm thrilled, and I know it's a big decision for him to have to make on what kind of style and sound he's gonna need to make this happen. But David's put in a lot of effort to make this possible.
Yeah, if you don't mind me asking,
and, I've never been to Chicago, where they're from,
yeah.
or Rockford, Illinois, which is their hometown, I think.
Yeah.
I've been to Illinois, but I've never been to Rockford, so I know that's where they come from, and I've learned a lot along the way about them, because sad to say, I was never able to see them growing up, but fortunately now I've had an opportunity to see them numerous times, so I hope I made up for it. I don't know why I missed the opportunity when I was younger, but better late than never, right?
Yeah, and I think if anything, you're keeping the legacy going, and so I tip my hat to you for that. Now, if you don't mind me asking, sounds like you've been with David the longest of all the guys in the band. How did you guys first meet? You said you auditioned for a band or one of his bands, or so had you not known him prior to that?
I was in a project prior to him for several years where I was working pretty steady, and I wanted to go in a different direction, and I had some new ideas. And I think initially I found an ad on the internet. It could have been Craigslist. I'm not real confident about it now. My memory's failing me a little bit, but I remember going to Long Beach and auditioning for him, and at the time he had a singer, and I think the singer was leaving to start a family.
Okay.
I think his wife was pregnant, and the story is that I guess he was starting a family. He couldn't balance both of them, so I stepped in, and I went to the audition, and I think I was his first audition, and he said he wanted to work with me, so I started working with that project, and then one thing led to another, and everything led up to this Cheapest Trick project, which has been just been nonstop since we started. We always look for work, and we always want to work, but we've had really steady work, and I'm really grateful that people are calling. We're getting double bookings, triple bookings all the time.
And
we're
what?
really
Yeah.
excited about it.
And what's the biggest difference for you and being in a cover band and doing the cheapest trick thing?
I thought the separation would be minimal, but I was far, I was way off target. This is by far the hardest, most difficult thing I've ever had to do.
Yeah.
It takes a lot emotionally, it takes a lot physically to make this all happen. It takes a lot financially. There's a lot of investment.
Yeah.
And time, and it takes a lot more time than doing cover work, even though cover work isn't easy either.
Yeah.
Because you're usually doing 3 and 4 hour shows every night you work. These shows are shorter, but they fatigue me much faster. I hit fatigue much quicker doing the show because it's a performance, it's costumes, it's the energy of the audience. Typically, it's larger audiences, so it's definitely it's not for the weak of heart. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think too the biggest difference, like we were talking earlier, is in the detail. Because like if you're doing all covers, you can throw in a Bon Jovi song, a Def Leppard song, maybe a Tom Petty song, whatever. Whereas if you're doing like Cheap Trick or any kind of other tribute, the audience is you got a built-in fan base. They're coming to the show kind of have an idea of what they're expecting to hear and see. So you got that added pressure, especially a band like Cheap Trick, where the fans are really diehard.
Oh, there's definitely added pressures to doing tribute bands, and it's certainly not something that I would recommend to just anybody, because it does certainly take a certain fortitude to make everything possible. And like I said, it takes a village. I could never have done this on my own, and I wouldn't even attempt to do it.
Yeah, and I got to ask you, Jorden, because one thing I got to commend you guys on that I really think is part of why you guys are so successful, besides just the music, is like you said, the detail. Like David, I look at his photos, I look at your photos. You guys, he looks like Buddy Carlos. Like I could tell that, like even the white shirt, the type of white shirt he's wearing in the pictures and stuff on your Facebook page. You could tell that you guys have taken the time to not just get any white shirt, but that's something like what you see Buddy Carlos wear, or the kind of tie he would wear. And even
we even went the extra mile. I found some costume cigarettes for him, and unbelievably enough, he plays with that cigarette in his mouth the whole night long. And I guess he's a nose breather now. I don't know how he does it, but it's amazing that he goes that extra mile for their show. Because I say, you can take that out if you need to breathe once in a while.
Yeah.
He wants to stay in character the whole show, whether it's a 45-minute show or a 2 or 3 hour show. He's in character the whole time back there.
Yeah, and let me ask you, because even some of the photos on the Facebook page, like you guys got a photo of the whole band where you guys are on motorcycles. Kind of looks like the cover of In Color album cover, except your guys' photo is black and white, but it really looked identical. Talk a little bit about taking that photo. Was there a photo shoot for that or what?
Well, there were people that came from across town with their bikes, their motorcycles, and their bicycles, and they stayed with us during the whole shoot to contribute all that they could. And that day really took a lot of effort. I remember it distinctly because a lot of people were involved, and there were several photographers there. There are people that drove from San Diego with their motorcycles so that we could get the shots on the bikes. They had those. Somebody contributed those little bicycles that we could use so that we could make it as authentic as possible. There were some elements missing in those photographs, but we tried to get as close as we could. Somebody was bringing images up on their cell phone of the actual album cover so that we could try to match our expressions and our body positions, our arm positions as much as possible to make it look authentic.
Because that's what I'm saying.
There was a lot of effort that went into that day, Jason. I remember it well. It was a very long day.
Because that's a good word for it, authentic. Because I got to tell you, if I hadn't gone on the Facebook page and I had seen that picture up on, just somewhere up on the internet, I would think that was Cheap Trick from back in 1977. And it's just amazing that you guys, like you said, it was a long day, a long photo shoot, whatever. But the fact that you guys took the time and the effort. I could say, you could even use that for an ad, and people would think it was a real Cheap Trick. That's how good of an ad it is.
Yeah, I think our promotion material for the venues and our fans is postcards with those images on the front and the back, and I think the business cards have those images too. So, we really utilized that. Even though it was backbreaking work, we utilized all the opportunity and the materials that we could get from that day to make it, authentic to the band and to us, and to make everything possible. So, and don't get me wrong, it's certainly worth the investment in time.
Exactly.
And there were other days that were just as backbreaking and exhausting as that one was, but it's all worth it. It's for the fans, it's for the people that have supported us over the last 15 months, and we hope to continue for a very long time to come, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That just goes to show you, putting on a successful tribute act like this. There's more to it than just being able to get up on stage and play the songs. I mean, I'm impressed just hearing you talk about what an all-day event that was, because to me, just as somebody that's come to your show, I'm impressed by that, because it's not every tribute band goes to that length, and that's why I think there's so much noise about Cheapest Trick. That so much people are starting to know the name, because they get these postcards, they see these ads, and it's like, man, these guys are they're really something special. They're more than just a band, and any band that would go to that trouble just to get their name out or whatever, I'm impressed with.
Yeah, and I think we've exhausted all of our Kiss records too. So if anybody wants to contribute, we need more Kiss records to throw to the audience. And I think we do that every show, and we've been hunting them down all over town trying to find them. But somebody walks away with a Kiss album every show that we do, and so we try to connect with the audience, get them involved, pull them into the show, because we remember that at the end of the day, when we're rehearsing, it's four guys in a room going over material, talking about how to fine tune it and make things better, coming up with it. A lot of the songs fade out on the record, so we have to come up with alternate endings and to make it happen in a live show, because you certainly can't. I've seen bands do it, and I've certainly done it where you fade out a song while you're playing, but that's just not something that works for every song. So you have to come up with alternate endings, and at the end of the day, we want the audience we remember we're there for them. There's that's the reason and the point we do all this, to promote Cheap Trick, certainly, and so that Cheapest Trick can be out playing for the audience that has spent a lot of time, money, and effort to come and see us week after week.
And let me ask you, if you don't mind me, Jorden, you mentioned earlier, like a lot of professional musicians yourselves, you got a day job. Do you mind sharing with us what you do during the day?
I actually own a company in Torrance. I'm an environmental health and safety consultant, so I help companies stay in compliance with safety regulations. I don't know if you've heard of Cal OSHA.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
OSHA, which is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. I help companies comply with those regulations so they don't get people injured at work primarily, and citations from the state or the federal government. So basically, I'm like the mediator. I go in and kind of correct problems before somebody's hurt or before citations are issued, and that's everything from EPA compliance to OSHA compliance to National Fire Protection Association or NFPA compliance. So there's a lot involved in it. It gets a little complicated because we do emergency plans and we do a lot of training for employees. So that's how I occupy my days.
How cool is that? I mean, it's a great way to balance your life. I mean, you got a pretty serious job during the day to help pay the bills and what have you, and I respect you totally for that. And then let me ask you on that note.
It's all about the balance, Jason, right?
Have you ever?
It's all about finding the balance.
I was curious, have you ever invited any of your coworkers at the day job to come see your show, and they're like, "Man, you're a totally different person. I can't believe that guy on stage is, same Jorden that I work with."
Actually, they have seen my shows. They've seen the cover band and the tribute bands. I've had clients come. I had one client that actually was a drummer, and he sat in and played drums for us, as a guest drummer.
Oh, wow.
So, it's a small world, and I'm surprised who you meet and the connections you make and the interactions that happen from day to night. So, yeah, there is a lot of crossover, I think.
I think the cool thing about that too is, being a working musician, having your job during the day, and then on these weekend gigs, or even during the week when you have a gig during the week, it allows you to kind of get all your angst out, and maybe if you've had a stressful day or whatever, you can go and put on a great rock show for the audience, and you leave the stage feeling great.
I seem to get that reaction over and over again from the members of the band. is that it's like a release for them, you know? It's kind of something that everybody's always looking forward to. At the end of the day, when everything else is just chaos and things are not going right, they're so excited that we have, you know, bookings on the calendar, and everybody seems, you know, excited to be able to get to these shows and finally be on stage set up and performing. It seems like everybody really loves what they're doing, which makes it a whole lot better for all of us, you know. You don't want to work with somebody that doesn't want to be there, certainly. So this really, really makes a difference.
Yeah, and it seems.
I hope I'm doing Robin Zander justice. It's really been challenging. He's got a big voice. You know, I think they call him a man of a million voices.
Yeah, I mean, just listen to what he does on, you know.
He's a chameleon.
Yeah, on a song like Dream Police, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he can change his shows and change his performance and change his sound. It's just amazing. I didn't realize how difficult it would be. You know, that's somebody that you really. I mean, I'm doing the best I can under the circumstances, but it's been really, really challenging. You know.
Yeah.
He's got such a big voice and such a big style, and it's hard to replicate that. It's been really challenging for me. And I think it has for everybody, actually.
Yeah.
They all have such, even Tom Peterson, they all have such bright personalities on stage. They all have their own demeanor. And to capture that and give it back to the audience is just, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But we're happy to be able to do it.
Well, I think you guys are up for a challenge, and you seem to be doing a great job. And you know, speaking of Tom Peterson, I think when I seen you guys at the Gas Lap, you guys performed one of the songs he does, which is "I Know What I Want," and I Know What I Want. Right. I always love that tune. And let me just throw a suggestion out there. If you guys ever played, again, it's off that '94 album, "Woke Up with the Monster." I love the tune "You're All I Want to Do."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we constantly reinventing ourselves. We're trying to add new music all the time. So we've had a lot of requests, and most of them we've been able to accommodate. But you said there's a song that you want added to the show, or that you'd like to hear?
Oh, I don't know if you're aware of the song, but on that album we were talking about earlier, "Woke Up with the Monsters," there's this kind of poppy tune. It's called "You're All I Want to Do," and I just always love that track, and I was surprised it was never, you know, really a bigger hit.
Oh, okay. I'll have to take a listen at that. I'm sure it's something that we could do.
Yeah, well, that's great, and I could talk to you all night, Jorden. Before I let you go, but I'd like to ask you, do you have a favorite Cheap Trick album of all time?
You know, I have to say that, you know, I've been listening to, you know, my Sex American Cheap Trick box set, so because it has all the hits and some unreleased tracks, so it's been really good. And I certainly, you know, Woke Up with a Monster. I mean, just that track alone is probably one of my all-time favorites. You know, we just recently added "Heaven Tonight."
Oh, cool.
You know, not the song, and we added "Need Your Love," which are like extended songs. They're like "Gonna Raise Hell." They're very long songs to perform live, but they're just such great tracks. So, you know, I think, you know, of course, everybody loves Budokan and Dream Police. You know, I think there was a little disconnect with "One-on-One" and "Exposition Please" that were released in like '82 and '83 for some people, but I just, you know, I keep listening to them and uncovering more hits and B-sides and unreleased tracks, and you know, they've got these remasters, and I'm just like, I'm always getting exposed to new material. So
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, do you have a favorite, Jason? I don't know that I do. I mean,
yeah. It's hard. That's why I asked.
It is hard.
You know, like one of my favorites, I think, just as an album is like you mentioned, "Heaven Tonight." I always love that album from top to bottom. You know.
Oh yeah.
Like "California Man." That's one of those rare, you know, people know that song, they hear it or on the radio. Just kind of, you know, they're great songs to hear, but they never were real breakout hits.
Yeah, and you know, of course, everybody loves their debut album. "In Color" was fantastic. "Dream Police," I mean, that was released the day after my birthday.
Yeah.
I think September 21st, '79, they released that. So,
and you,
I mean, they have so much. They have so much out there. Their movie soundtracks, everybody loves and always wants. Yeah. They always want to hear them. You know.
Well, you know, everybody forgets that they did the theme song for that '70s show.
That '70s show, right?
Yeah.
Which is a song that we don't have the moment, but people have been requesting it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's something that we want to look at. I mean, they were in lots. They were on lots of movie soundtracks. They had a lot of songs out there.
Yeah. And
in 1980, there was a movie called Roadie or something, and I think that song that I really like is "Everything Works If You Let It." Have you ever heard that track?
Oh yeah. In fact, I don't know if you know who the band. Yeah, there's also this other band, Enough's Enough, that they recently put out a cover album. They got a cover of that song you mentioned. Everything Works If You Let It. They do a pretty good cover.
And we hope to someday be able to, have a booking maybe as a headline act where we just replicate and repeat the whole Budokan show from start to finish.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you that because Cheap Trick themselves have done what a lot of these bands are doing now, where they'll go in and perform one of their albums in concert, like Cheap Trick have done it, I think, with Heaven Tonight and Color, and I think even the Budokan album, like you're saying. Is that anything you guys would ever want to do, or you prefer just to play all the hits?
No. I mean, we've had discussions about it, and certainly if there's a venue that wants to see something like that, or the market will bear that, we would love to try to do so. I think we're all prepared. We're ready to do it if the call comes in, and it's something that has come up in discussion in the past several times. So it's certainly something to consider. It's just a new avenue for us to take.
And so
it just increases our opportunities out there, and that's what we just want to keep the music alive,
So of course, as we sit here talking, it's December 2014. So I imagine things are kind of winding down for you guys for this year. But are you currently booking shows as we speak for next year?
Oh yeah, we started. I expect it to be into some of the summer shows yet, and it's not happened. But we've already got some shows booked. I don't have my calendar in front of me.
Yeah.
I know that we're going to be going back to the Coach House in January.
Oh, cool.
There's a couple other bookings. We want to try to get 2 or 3 Cheap Trick shows in before that January 31st appearance with Led Zeppelin again at the Coach House.
Oh, cool.
So I know there's some stuff coming up and on the calendar.
We'll have to check out
in between that, we're doing our cover project, so it's a balancing act for us.
Okay, yeah.
We're back and forth. And then, we're getting interested in some of the other venues to go back and play there again. So we're definitely trying to line up summer work, and we're definitely, that's something we're all looking forward to doing,
Okay, the last thing I want to ask you about that, as far as booking the shows, are you guys pretty much self-managed where you're booking your own shows, or are you getting to the point where you're going to need a manager to help with that?
At this point, we could already definitely use a steady booking agent, but right now we're going through a couple entities, and we're doing some of our own booking and scheduling, and and then we have somebody. If it's an out-of-town show, we have somebody in that location helping us book the shows. So, yeah, we could definitely use a regular booking agent. Right now we're working with several people in agencies, so hopefully we'll get that squared away this coming year.
Yeah, because, this one guy speak with Gar Boris, who he's the lead singer for his Guns N' Roses tribute, and he actually books all his own shows, and he gets other tribute bands on the act, to open up for him, and he actually books other tribute bands, just for their own shows, and I think a lot of these tribute bands are getting into stuff like that, booking shows for other bands.
And and certainly the information's out there for all the tributes that we work with. If they need an opening act or a headline act, that they can certainly call us anytime, and we're hoping people like that you just talked about. You said he's with the Guns N' Roses tribute?
Yeah, actually, if you go on my site, there's actually a couple of interviews up. His name is Gar Boris, and he's in this Guns N' Roses tribute. They have a show coming up New Year's Eve at the House of Blues in Hollywood. He works with them a lot, but he plays Axl Rose, and the band's called Appetite for Destruction.
Those certainly, I haven't been able to see them, but that's certainly some hard shoes to fill too.
Oh yeah, and it's so I could talk to you all night, Jorden, but I know you're as busy as I am, so I'm going to let you go. But I really enjoyed talking to you, and the interview is probably going to go up in a couple of weeks. The minute it does, I'll be sure to let you know, and maybe we could do this again down the line. But I really enjoyed talking to you. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we end this?
Well, I just want to say thank you for your time, and certainly thank you to the people that have supported us all this time, that are listening to this interview, and that we hope to see all of you at the shows. And certainly we want to come up and we want to meet the people. We want to talk to the people. we want to get pictures with everybody so that we can put them on our site and, you know, get the message out there that rock and roll is alive and kicking, and we're going to keep it going as long as we can.
Yeah, and before I let
we hope to see everybody at the shows.
Before I let you go, Jorden, say goodbye for tonight. I promise you one thing. I'm gonna make a point to go see Cheapest Trick in 2015 because, like I said, I saw you guys when you first were coming up, about a year and a half ago, and you guys say you got a lot better. I want to see that. So I'm gonna come to one of the shows.
You're over too. There's a lot. I think you're gonna enjoy it. There's a lot of new equipment and there's a lot of new material and costumes. I think you'll like it.
I think I will too because I was really impressed.
We've matured a lot since you saw us first, so hopefully it'll be a different experience for you, a better one.
Well, that's really saying something then because I was pretty impressed with what I saw back then, but it doesn't take much to impress me. But you guys really you got down the look and everything and the sound. So I really urge people to go see this band Cheapest Trick if you ever get the chance because they'll rock your they'll give something rock a night to remember.
I guess we're easy to find. If people need to find us, just Cheapest Trick on Facebook, or they can locate us very easily and get in touch with us that way and send us messages, and we can get in contact with them. And we post all of our upcoming shows all the time, so people can follow us very easily. When our bookings come in, we always try to get them up, at least a couple weeks in advance if possible, unless it's just like a quick overnight booking.
Okay, and thanks again so much, Jorden, once again. And before I let you go, I just want to say, if you could shoot me later when you get a chance, your personal email address, I could actually email you an MP3 file of the interview we just did, and you can listen back to it just as we did.
All right, Jason, fantastic. Thank you again for your time, and I hope to see you at an upcoming show.
Oh, you got my word on that. So Happy New Year, and we'll see you in the new year.
All right, long live Cheap Trick.
Yeah, okay, bye-bye. Thanks so much.
All right, Jason, thank you.